Sean got to us after the game, he hurled his equipment bag down to the ground and basically like.
We'll wait for Sherry to get back.
Aw.
I told her she got 2 minutes.
He was like, we finally did it. It was so cute.
We finally beat him.
That's really sweet. He just hadn't had a win since he was full roster in varsity. He had been doing it for the first
Oh.
couple games.
Yeah.
So he was.
Pay attention. We're going to call the meeting to order. There's just a little bit of housekeeping, and I'm never really sure where to put this in, but here it is. The housekeeping had to do with 2 issues that were actually added to the agenda. 13, well, I'm only going to say it because it's a housekeeping issue. These were only FYIs. So when the agenda comes by, I'll be asking to eliminate them. But that's how you know. It was 13, I think we had, hang on here. It was 13, hang on, C, and 14B. So that's the only housekeeping, but that'll
Which
come.
B?
Small b.
Small b? Which
Yeah.
small b?
Which small
A or B? You said 14,
Yeah.
B.
No, try 13C,
Okay.
You want
which
that
has to
removed?
do with applications for open trustee. I'm only using that as the example at this point because those were only FYIs. And 14, which is new business, which is also B as in boy. But that won't come until we look at our agenda.
14A,
So we'll take a roll call.
Ms. Howe.
Here.
Ms. Butler Challenger here. Ms. Wilson. Here. Ms. Kellerman.
Here.
Mr. Rosecrans.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, we're in item 2, and this will be the civil reflections, and you'll have the Pledge of Allegiance, and then a moment of silence.
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Bath has had a really rough September, so I'm glad people were quiet with their moment of silence. That always helps. All right, approval of the agenda. I have a question. So I need a
What's your
motion
question?
and a second.
Well, no, you change it before you make the motion.
What do you want to change?
If I want to change, yeah, okay, I don't care, however you want to do it. We'll do it so that you're going to look at 13, unfinished business, C as in Charles, applications for open trustee position. It was an FYI.
Okay, so you want that.
I do have it, if you'd like, I can certainly go through it and tell you.
Okay, so you want to remove.
I was very, very pleased, to say the least, that we now have a full and complete process, because that's what I was looking for. So my understanding, if I'm understanding what the superintendent wants to do, she wants to be able to give to us, I'm assuming before the 11th, all the applicants, so that we know who has put in for it, and then we'll have a chance to look at it, because that was the thing that I was concerned about, that we wouldn't get a chance to review them.
It's my intention to distribute them with the packet.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Okay,
I was
yes.
very glad to see that.
Then that, yes,
After
that's
I
correct.
put in for some kind of a change so that we would have access to them.
Yes, you will.
Okay. And also, so again, that was an FYI. That wasn't anything other than a clarification of what we were going to do. So we have that. Passage of the 2021 budget. I also put something in there. Trustee Rosecrans made a statement with regards to the fact that I was involved, or this board was involved in the 21 budget. We were not.
You voted for it.
No, we
Or you
didn't.
voted against it. You had to.
No, we didn't. That was done on the 16th of November. We took office on the 20th. Maybe you did, but I didn't. And so that was
I don't
more of an
think so.
information thing. Look it up, because I did.
I was there.
So was I. And we did not vote. This board did not vote for that 21 budget.
You had to.
No, you did. on December 16th,
We,
or November 16th, sorry about that. And I took office on November
this was
20th.
a temporary budget like we're doing right now.
No,
And then at the end of the month, everybody voted on it, the new board.
no, they didn't. They have no commitment for us doing the 25th, 2025. We'll have responsibility for that, not the new group coming in 24. Anyway, look it up so that you'll see it. Because it says the public hearing was open and closed November 16th. You want a copy of it?
Yes, I would like to
Okay.
have it.
Make sure that you get a copy. And, because it should have been in there, because that's what it
It's in the
said.
board packet.
Is it, should have been in the board
It's in his
packet?
board packet.
Then you should read your board packet, because it's there.
I've had a little rough week.
Uh,
I didn't get a chance
you
to
and-
read it all.
It's been a heck of a
I'll tell
tough
you,
week.
my buddy Joe knows it.
It's been a tough week. Mary Ann, and then Michelle, I mean, it's just been a really tough week for Bath Township. But anyway, it's there, so it's in your board packet. So if you don't find it, let me know.
Okay.
All
Okay.
right, so you were asking to
So-
remove those two items?
Well, yes, all they were was for
Okay.
information only. So, yes, I'm asking to remove them because they were information only.
Okay, and I am asking to remove the board rules of order because we have two closed sessions we have to do, so I think we're not gonna
Okay.
have an hour to be able to work on it.
I wondered about that.
Is everybody okay with that one?
That's-
Where are you at?
Okay,
13AA,
13AA, yes.
to remove that.
Yeah, I agree. I would
Because
second
we-
that motion.
All right, so the motion is to remove 13AA, to remove 13AC,
see,
and to remove
Is it AC?
Wait, AC, where, yeah.
14AB.
well, anyway, it'll be small, got it. Small c and
And what was the third one you just
I
said?
know,
The other one Marie wanted,
I know.
14AB.
I know.
Yeah.
But that's so you.
I second that motion. Quickly.
Quickly. All right, you need a roll call.
Ms. Kellerman?
Yep.
Mr. Rosecrans?
Yes.
Ms. Butler Challenger, yes. Ms. Howe?
Yes,
Ms. Wilson? Yes. Thank you.
and I don't see a conflict of interest for 4, so we have public statements, 5.
Hello, Ray Kotke, I'm over.
I need one of those shirts.
I'll be
Yes.
taking orders after this.
Okay,
14 Big B, little A.
14.
We spoke on this last
Big B,
meeting,
A,
but
okay.
we weren't able to get to it, but prior to all of this, I had spoken with Connie ad nauseum about this, and he asked what the process would be and all that, and I steered him in the direction of the superintendent. And I just want to say that as a lifelong resident of Park Lake and Bath Township, I don't think that we're ever going to find the shining star that we have in the Park Lake Creamery. And this is probably 1 in 10 million
Gotcha.
chance of an opportunity for them to, I hate to use the word expand, but to just grow a little bit and advance their creativity. And I just think that we would be very, very remiss in not entertaining that thought, in that you also, on this same agenda, have
Is it
another
listed
closed session.
twice?
And you should combine those.
I don't,
To consider purchase of real property on Park Lake Road. And that was 14BA.
A,
Combine that with 13BB. And then you spend a lot less time behind closed doors. Anyway, that's all. Doing a great job.
I
And that
have a
Karen,
question.
I'm surprised you got as far as you did on the budget tonight.
I have a quick question.
Yes, go ahead.
When you're talking about the purchase of real property with the owner of Park Lake, and then we're talking about
Park Lake Creamery.
the creamery, and then we're talking about purchase of,
Another closed session you apparently have.
Yes, we do.
14B.
for the
Right.
purchase of real, is that, are they the same? Okay,
No, they're not.
two different.
No, but what I'm saying is,
No,
you're all
I
gonna
get
be,
you.
you all are the same, and you're all gonna be behind that closed door, so just kill two birds with one stone. Anyway.
I don't think you can.
Can't do it?
No,
Okay.
no, it would be
have to
improper.
come in and-
Unfortunately, we can't combine purposes to be in closed session.
Okay.
So we gotta run out.
Great idea, though.
Walk out the hall, walk back in.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Good evening. I'm Jim Church of One Clark Road. I was fortunate enough to marry into a 9-generation family. Going back to Silas Rose, who gave Bath Township its name. He was the first clerk. He came from Bath, New York. So that's how it happened. Many years ago, before I had quite the interest in cemeteries that I do today, I made it a habit to attend every Memorial Day gathering. And I would seek out Kathy McQueen during her tenure as clerk and compliment her on the condition of the cemeteries. That's just clerk job.
The only question I have, Jim, is cemetery's not on here. So this public hearing, or this public statement, has to deal with the agenda? Yep. Public statement 2 is anything that you want to speak about.
Okay.
So we're on public statement
I'm
1.
out of order.
You're out of order.
Okay, I'll say it.
Thank you.
Come back.
What is it?
Please do come back. Is there anybody else for items on the agenda? None? Okay. I don't see anyone from the county, state, federal, or other agencies. So we'll put none. Consent agenda? Do we need a motion to accept?
I move we accept the consent agenda as printed.
Second it.
Mr. Rosecrans?
Yes.
Ms. Butler Challenger, yes. Ms. Howe?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Kellerman?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, we will then be on item 8, the approval of minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the Board of Trustee meetings held on September 18th as submitted.
For the special meeting or for the, or you're doing them together?
Yeah,
I second.
Then I have a question.
okay.
Okay. When you're talking about your minute of Board of Trustees, hang on a second, because there's the special. On page, hang on a second.
You're on
here.
the special,
No.
The regular.
regular.
Okay. Yeah, we'll let that one go. It'd be page 7, where it says board member comments. And that's what I needed to ask questions about. Could you do this? Because it says trustee Feedwin spoke to the false rumors being spread about him. Would that be alleged?
Put a summary in what he was saying.
I don't know,
tried
that's
to
why
do
I
my
asked.
best, but I put the summary in.
No, all it says is that he spoke of the false rumors. Would that be alleged false? I didn't know. That's why when I read it, I wasn't sure if that could be changed or not.
Specifically remember what he said during that particular
Yeah.
component. I understand the concern being.
It's not a concern, it's just,
I think that the summary certainly reflects what I recall from the gist of the conversation, but I don't remember what he said exactly. If
So-
those words came from him in particular, that phrase,
That's
that
what
would be
I'm
very
asking.
helpful to know. But I don't recall specifically. I'm comfortable with the summary because I think that does accurately reflect the gist of what he was relaying at that time.
and that's why I thought alleged would make a difference, because we don't know that they're true or not. So I wasn't sure.
Did he ever say alleged, or did you just say false rumors?
I don't remember. That's why I was
I
asking.
tried to do a summary. If you want me to add alleged in there, I will be more than happy
Okay.
to allege.
Because I think
go
alleged
ahead.
makes more,
Okay.
I mean, if you have rumors, well,
Or the alleged rumors.
yeah.
Or
the
to
alleged.
avoid, you maybe could just take out the word false and then just say rumors, because I think,
There's a
then
thought.
then there's not a
That's
value judgment
that's-
assigned.
Finds itself.
Either way,
Okay,
Just remove the word false and.
yeah.
yep, I can do that.
Either way,
Okay.
it works. And the other, Nope, we already took care of that. So that would be my only thought with it. So we have a second, take a vote.
Mr. Rosecrans?
Yes.
Ms. Butler Challenger, yes. Ms. Howe?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Kellerman?
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh, do we need to say as amended for the second?
Yeah.
Okay. So do we have to do another vote, or can you just add? Okay, thank you. All right, item 9, approval of vouchers, and these vouchers would be for October 2nd.
Yes, they're on the
Okay.
counter. Make a motion to approve the vouchers for the October 2nd meeting.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second to approve vouchers.
Ms. Butler Challenger, yes. Ms. Howe?
No,
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Kellerman?
Yes.
Mr. Rosecrans?
Yes.
Thank you.
okay, item 10, treasurer's report.
You'll have
Doesn't
that
seem
the
to be
next
any.
one.
So there's none. So committee appointments, there is none. Boy, we're moving right along. Township committee report. We've got the road committee and drive, George and John, with no attachments.
George Baker. We just have an opportunity to come before us, and so we just wanted to bring it before the board for you to consider and address the issue. You want to speak to it since you spoke to the contractor, John?
Yes, I'll be glad to. There's approximately 330 feet at the end of Hand Drive that is on private property. And it's considered to be a private road. And we've kicked this around for a number of years. It's even been on the media where it's been impassable in certain areas and sinkholes. So, yes, we've talked about it at Planning Commission and the Road Committee. Nobody's wanting to bite the bullet and take some action on this. So George has been meeting with the Road Commission. I've been meeting with Mr. Kessler. And this morning we had another final meeting with all the parties. Mr. Kessler is willing to remove all the substandard material that's in that area and replace it with sand or powdered concrete, asphalt, or concrete, I'm sorry, at his expense. And put down 6 inches of compacted concrete for base on the piece of road that's considered to be private road. If you're willing to pay for the paving of that, which would be about 12,000 is the change.
Yeah, that's,
And the road commission said, although their policy is they will not accept any new roads that has curb and gutter, they have on occasion waived that, which they would be willing probably to do, but it's up to the road commission. So if you approve the 12,000 expenditure, we'll make the road part of the problem go away. There's 2 things that would still have to be resolved, and that's the 3 parcels that are owned by people on that, I think it's the the southeast side of the road, is that correct?
Yes.
I think so. There would have to be paperwork drawn up and they're willing to sign off. Verbally, they said they would be willing to sign off on an easement so that it becomes a public road.
but they're not here tonight.
We have not had time to do that paperwork.
No, I mean, the 3 parcels that are owned by,
They're not here.
and they're not here.
present.
Okay,
And the other thing is that George and I would have to go and solicit to the road committee or the road commissioners to accept that piece of road. The general feeling is that if the township is supportive of it, that it would be, they'd be passive and accept that piece of road as public road. So that means that now it would be snow plowed and taken care of as part of Van Drive. Yes.
So is Mr. Kessler actually going to bring the road
Well,
up
that's-
to specs before?
Yes, he's willing to do all of the subgrade at his expense.
So
It is a
I
lot.
don't think that we should take a position on this until that road's actually up to standards.
So, yeah.
I mean,
I understand what your question is, Jennifer, but
okay,
in order for it to be paved as part of Ann Drive for the $12,000, we have to do it as part of the Ann Drive paving. If we're gonna do it later, the price will be probably 3 or 4 times that.
Go ahead, George.
So the opportunity arose because of the Ann Drive project. So that gives us opportunity, the contractor, the landowners, to, you know, and the township, because this benefit, ultimately it benefits the property owners, you know, because they're getting it done. And, but we, as residents that drive through there every single day, I would dare guess that every single person here has probably driven through there at least once, maybe. So our township definitely uses that section of private road. So it's kind of a opportunity for us to get that road fixed. And it won't be up to standards. Standards require curb and gutter, and that will not happen. But what will happen is the road underneath the bed that the road sits on, that will be brought up to standard. And then the property owner can petition or go before, not petition, but go before the county and then ask them. And because the county is working with us on that, they probably have a better opportunity to have that happen. I can't speak to that, but, and neither can the county, because the property owners all have to be there for that. But this actually right now gives us opportunity to have that road fixed for many, many years by having it blacktopped and the subgrade done while they're in the area doing the project.
All right, so that must not be where I'm thinking it is. Isn't there
So
the
this is Ann
private,
Drive, you go past the soccer fields and you come down here to Ann Drive and then you turn and there's the guard shack that goes into the subdivision, into the
Hawk Hollow.
Hollow.
This goes into Hawk Hollow right here.
yeah, that's
Oh,
the guard
that's-
shack.
that's the guard
Yeah,
shack.
Yep.
And this is a bad spot, so it would
What's
do-
the
You're
road?
down here.
Oh, there's Senior's Court though.
Yes, and it comes down through
Come
here.
this way.
We're trying to find it, hang on. That's,
So it would do from about right
Just go
here
down.
to here
So
and
he's
and
looking
the
here?
approach
Not
going into
Mulligan,
there.
well, that's wrong, because that's seniors court.
Okay, that's why I was.
So when you come down Ann Drive and you turn to go into Hawk Hollow, this is all private.
yes,
And this is the area that's been patched and patched and patched and patched, and it's got a bad subgrade. How bad, they don't know until they get underneath it.
So how come Mr. Kessler's let it go so long?
I was gonna,
It isn't
Well,
his.
He has,
Oh, I thought he owned all
I
that.
thought he owned it.
he don't own
He
it all.
owns
He only owns one little part.
Oh, okay.
Part.
that little section that heads up.
So it's many property owners, and he's talked to the other property owners, and they all want to work together with the township.
Sure.
It's a lot of legwork, but to get that all done before the project gets done in 3 weeks or 4 weeks, we have to bring it before you so that you can think about it. And then next week, we'd like to ask you to either make a decision so that that project could get paid possibly. Because he'll do the subwork. Karen?
So there's time, if this was on the agenda for October 11th, there would be time, enough time before the project starts?
The 11th?
I don't
When's our
know,
next
he might,
meeting?
he might have to get
No,
that
it's a special
started
meeting, the 11th.
Right,
before
but it's a
16th.
regular board meeting though.
I'm
I
sure
mean,
he
we're
would probably,
doing
before the
everything at that
month
meeting.
he would probably have to do stuff.
That would be interesting.
So we have to decide.
So it might be left open, I don't know, if it don't get live. I'm not trying to throw that as
No.
if you don't, this is gonna happen, because I don't know.
When we put the sewers in, that section was blacktopped by the township. Township didn't own it, but we had to cover the sewer. The sewer's under there. And so that was the reason it got done in the first place. Kessler was always very helpful. If there was a bad spot, he would patch it for us. So we never had to do that. But I think we've got to take a chance. They've got these people willing to sign the paperwork, and I think we should go ahead and okay the 12,500.
No, I'm just saying, something could happen, the
Yeah.
paperwork might not ever come
Well,
to fruition, but.
we haven't paid the check yet either. all we're doing, I'm trying to get
talking
them to
about
do is just okay it so they can get to work on it.
Right, correct.
So it's a straight shot into this,
It's only 300 and.
30 feet.
318 feet.
oh, 3/8.
What was it?
So
Okay,
It's
'cause
kind
he
of
said
where the
330.
blacktops
318 feet,
changes
Okay.
colors.
$12,300. That's the estimate.
I was
Now,
gonna
that
say,
could-
that's a low ball, isn't it?
No, because
Okay.
they're in there with the stuff, it would be part of the Andrive project. It would tack on $12,300 to the Andrive project. Is that correct?
What's the Andrive project?
And Drive, Gary
Help me
Lane,
out.
and Timothy Lane, or
Oh,
only Blacktop
Timothy.
is full yet.
So what we're saying is that Ann Drive goes all the way into that, so if I followed Ann Drive,
Yes.
Yeah.
that would follow right into
Hawk Hollow.
Hawk Hollow. And
Most
what
people
you're
don't-
saying,
You would have to turn, or
The
you'd be on
seniors
a
court.
private drive,
We'd be in a
Yeah,
dirt
you
drive.
turn right.
or you'd be on a dirt road.
So would we pave all the way down to that dirt road or just halfway
To
down?
about where it is now. You know.
Basically, it's just what we had blacktop before,
So we did it to cover the sewer.
yeah,
Yeah, actually, that was blacktop during the sewer project.
yeah.
But then they stopped because, when they repaved Dam Drive, because it was private property.
Right.
So that piece is.
And at
left
that
to
time,
repave.
Charlie Sheldon was alive,
Yep,
and Charlie was totally against it.
yep. Correct.
so the dirt road that goes off Ann Drive, that's another private drive?
Yeah, that's.
'Cause they got, you lose your car in there. I mean,
Yes.
that's okay. Okay,
Yeah, but we're just talking
that's no
about.
joke. Yeah, you do.
I've been down
That's
there.
no joke. That's just ludicrous, but people live down there.
We just had, this opportunity came before us, and
Yeah.
John Wright been talking
Yes.
to him, and it was.
Previously, Mr. Kessler didn't want to do anything with it because it is expensive.
So,
Because they're gonna be in an area with the project.
And he's trying to get us to go ahead and the county to accept where that, little shack is on up to the,
That's a whole nother issue.
that's a whole
I was
other
gonna say,
story, but I
that
mean,
doesn't have-
This
Yeah,
works into
let's-
this whole system. If this gets done to there, then we don't have to pay for that, which are gonna be, like you say, 3 times as much.
At
If
least.
you gotta run the equipment back in there.
Or he don't have to pay it, if he has to do it.
we have to pay it.
Like he said, he won't,
Okay.
he won't curb and gutter that up to standards.
No.
So if the county don't, accept it or whatever down the road, or that some properties don't get turned over to the county, he will still own it, but he'll have a new road. But we will have, driving across this private property, which our whole city does, or our whole township does, we'll have a nice new road to
Okay.
drive as part of
All
the
right.
project.
So what you're at, make sure I'm understanding this. So what's being asked is the road commission is saying they'll pave it for 12,000, okay?
Yes, if you okay it.
If we okay it, no, I understand that. And that there are 3 people who,
I'm not sure how many property
Live-
owners specifically. but
Okay.
at 3?
okay, we'll say 3. Just, nobody's gonna hold your feet to the fire on that one. So we'll just say that there are 3 people who do it. And because we use that, some township residents, use it as a shortcut in order to get to Chandler Road.
Correct.
Okay,
That's
I got
not the
another-
only property.
that's an interesting
Well, I have
concept.
another concern. This board has voted, since I've been on it twice, not to accept or take a private road to a public road. So why is this different?
Why is this different? Because of the rarity of where it's at and its location and who it serves. It serves all of that.
So where does the public road start and
In
the
Hawk Hollow.
private road
In
ends?
Hawk Hollow. This,
Oh,
So-
I'm just on Ann Drive.
So, okay, that's what I guess,
this. Oh, yeah.
All right.
It changes colors.
Here, I can bring it down for you. You can reach it.
nope, I'm,
Yep, that's where that's.
Right there.
so,
You can actually almost see the mark.
exactly.
Where-
There.
So that's public, or that's private,
Yeah.
where the
That's where it
mark
starts.
is. And then,
That's private where the arrow is.
and the owner of the private is,
3 owners,
There's-
one being Darrell.
Probably.
oh, I see. Oh,
And they're all 3 willing to
Well, of course,
give
if
us-
Darrell Kessler, that only works well for his
Well,
subdivision.
yeah, but he's also
No, I
digging that
get
down
that.
where that hole is. That hole last year was, about 2 foot deep in the middle of that road.
Well, that swallows cars like the other one does? Okay. I get
So
you.
the three property owners, they would need to grant an easement? Is that what I'm understanding, a
Well,
road
that's-
easement? Okay.
That's what I guess I'm,
It would have to be surveyed from what I understand.
I think
But,
it's.
so there's a lot more to it than just,
correct, but some of that's been done from what we understand.
Okay.
We can't speak for them, but from what we are told, some of that work has probably been done already.
paperwork.
Yes.
Okay,
You know, some of the property owners may have changed, so they need to research and make sure that everything's on the up and up.
so where then on Ann Drive, you have, apparently it's a sandwich. You've got asphalt, gravel, asphalt,
It starts
Okay.
here, goes down to about
about
here,
318
and then to
feet.
here, just this approach, just part of this approach.
Okay,
I think there's a line right there.
That's the 318 foot.
yeah. So I was gonna say, that's a heck of a deal for 12 grand.
It is,
I mean, that's,
it is.
would they make that
Especially
same kind of
with-
deal with other things?
Especially with him doing the
That's a,
digging out. It's
Yeah.
gotta be dug in that one hole.
So we
Well-
will approve it if the paperwork is done and the leases are given, et cetera, is.
so there's a lot
Given.
to it.
If you're waiting for that, then
Well,
that's
well,
not gonna happen.
no, we okay it if that occurs, is what
You
you're
can-
asking for.
No,
No.
what I'm asking for, or what we're asking for, is that you okay the funds to put the blacktop down, regardless of what paperwork's done in the future.
So if we were to
That's like a pig and a bull.
put the money down, and this never came to fruition, the township's
'Cause then
out
they could say it's my
$12,300.
Correct.
That's
But we're not out the $12,300 because we've used that road and will continue to probably use that road unless Mr. Kessler blocks it off.
But he could do so.
Yes.
No, you're not with that subdivision back in there, you won't.
Not for all the people that live back there.
Not with this subdivision.
No, I'm
Yeah.
just saying that, you
Right.
know,
It's
if
his-
we wait for the
But that's his
paperwork,
prerogative.
we can't
He can do
guarantee
that.
So, you know, in my
We
opinion,
could tear up the road.
that's just my opinion, only that, is that if we wait for the paperwork and stuff, we miss opportunity, because they're in the area with their contractors right now, or will be within the next few weeks. And so this is maybe a 2-week window for them for Mr. Kessler still has to go in there, rip that road out, fix that road, and then prep that road for the new blacktop to come out, new asphalt.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So we have to have time for that, he has to have time for that to happen. And that will probably need to be done before, that will probably have to be done before the next meeting.
But he wants our guarantee before he even starts it.
No guarantee.
Okay,
We're just coming to you today, regardless, he's probably gonna tear it up and prep for it.
Okay.
And we're just hoping and praying that you guys will okay the $12,300 for the funds. And I will say, because he's ripping it up and they don't have to mill it, it may come in, I can't speak to it,
sure.
but it may come in even less than that,
Okay,
possibly.
go ahead.
If we blacktop it or mill it, will it still be considered a private road or
Yes.
what? Okay.
Until the three people
Now,
sign
the
off.
intention is, by the county, to try to help facilitate this, you know, they don't want to open Pandora's box and not, you know, this is just a unique situation where, because of the location of where it's at. But, yeah, they do not have anything that says they accept anything less than the standards, and the standards are curb and gutter. So they would have to go before that board and ask for a variance for that to happen. And then also they have to do the paperwork for the easements. So it's gonna take a little time for all that to transpire. And that won't happen before.
So the township, much like the Webster, the end of Webster Road, where we took a neutral position, we didn't support it, but we didn't oppose it, we would be asked to provide the
Support it.
road commission with either support, neutrality, or
Yeah, once-
opposition.
Once the county okayed it, then we would bring it before the board, and I have an inkling that the board wants this to happen too, but once the county okays it, then it can be brought before our township.
So we don't get a say before the county decides?
You know what? I'm not positive on that.
Because in the past, we've had the opportunity
Yeah, I
to,
think they still have to go before the county.
So they want to abandon it? The county does?
No.
No?
No.
Because that's a private road.
Yeah, it would
So-
be, eventually it would be us accepting that road.
As a-
And before we can accept it, the county has to accept it, because it's a
Which
county
means,
road.
which means if it goes into the winter, we're responsible for taking care of it?
No.
No?
The county's
Okay.
No, if it gets
'Cause we don't own a
blacktop-
road.
No, if it gets blacktop this year, Mr. Kessler's, or the property owners, I should say,
Right,
he's just one of the owners, but the property owners would be responsible for what they are responsible for now already, currently.
okay.
but if it was accepted by the road commission, then we would be responsible for the
Yes,
maintenance,
if
plowing.
they accepted it and the township accepted it, then we would be responsible for the upkeep, plow, so.
That would be the one road in Bath Township we owned, right? I mean, if that's our
It'd
responsibility.
still be a county road.
Still be
Still be a county.
It-
why would
we
we
don't
plow
own
it?
any of them.
But we pay them, so that's what
That's
you're
right.
saying, is
Yeah.
we don't really own it, we pay them to come in and take care of it.
Yeah.
Okay,
So if you want to take action on it tonight, we won't frown upon that. But if you, you know.
Want to think about it?
And then the election,
I-
you know, I would probably ask that you guys consider, because of the opportunity that we have to do it at the price we have to do it, to me, a situation that,
sure.
see, the township gets calls on it, the county gets calls on it, I get calls on it,
What do you get calls about?
the holes.
Oh,
the-
Why it's not being maintained.
Yeah, why, you know, the potholes. And so.
it's private,
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. So who gets the most calls is Mr. Kessler. But-
Or the people who don't know that that's a private road.
Yeah, but I'm sure the
But-
township here field many calls, and I think it was in the news. I missed that, but
Had a palm tree on it.
they had a palm tree.
It did. Somebody put a palm tree there.
I know, I've been on several boards over the years, and
Yeah.
it's been discussed many times. but-
So there are really two actions.
There are
This
two
board
actions.
needs to decide if they're going to expend the $12,300.
Right.
Yes.
And they need to decide whether or not they support Clinton County accepting it as
That would be
public.
nice.
That's
Okay.
correct. There's,
But they'll have to go through a variance, you
They-
said, because they're not
yes.
gonna bring it up to specs. And how often do they accept that?
They don't, when they're not up to
Case by-
specs.
They said it's case-by-case basis.
Yeah, that's what they
And-
say.
And it boils down to mostly the property owner of the township to take the lead on it.
the big hangup is the curb and gutter, but there's no curb and gutter on the rest of Van Drive. So unless somebody wants to put curb and gutter on all of Van Drive, which I don't think is practical or even makes sense.
I have an off-the-cuff comment. When did that become part of that? Because our Tamarack Trail doesn't have curbs and gutters. So when did it become,
You don't have a public road.
no, we don't, which is what that is. So,
We put a sewer under that one.
I know, but it's still private. I mean, it's still a private
It was
road.
private at the time, they got the okay to put the sewer under.
What I'm
it.
I
asking-
believe she's
To go
asking
up through.
When did
Yeah.
they put the curb and gutter rule in?
When did the
Oh,
curb and gutter,
I don't know when that
I
happened.
don't know
Okay.
that actually.
That would
okay,
be a
because
county
ours, there's no curb and gutter.
Is curb and gutters only for public and not for private? Okay,
Then,
And when you build a road now, if it's public, it will stay public. They will not accept it, no more.
Okay.
So you need to decide if it's public, or it's private, period.
Their
And
rule,
it has one standard.
their rules for subdivision and public road development was approved, it looks like, in 2014.
okay, that-
Thanks, Karen.
I just looked at an email from Mark.
I'm so glad he's back.
Me too.
I am. I'm really,
All of us are.
Yeah.
We all are.
Do you have any more questions for us?
no, you did good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Even with all our questions, you did.
Thank you.
That helped to clarify. All right, so I don't think we're looking for any motion at this point.
I think we need to do something.
Yeah.
It has
I-
been, this
I
has been
don't.
here since 78.
Yeah, nope, I get that.
And
There's still a
so
lot
I
of
think we should at
questions.
least appropriate the money, and when they get all of their paperwork done, they will know that we're really interested in getting it done.
Could we make a motion that we appropriate the money with a release from the private landowners that it stays, we have access to it? They've
It-
got, they would know that we give
It
them the
won't be done
money.
in time.
Well,
paperwork
that they
won't be
will
done.
do it.
No, that's,
They can't do
you
it that
can't
way.
do it that way.
I think if you appropriate the money, you're saying that you will pay for it as part
Correct.
of the N-Drive project, regardless of whether
Right.
it becomes
All right,
public or
I make a
private.
motion that we appropriate the money for
second
this
it.
project.
And I'll have a comment with that. I would much rather wait until the 11th to do some thought process with it and to look at the numbers. I'm not sure, do we have 12,000 to do that? So
Well, didn't
that's
we use the N-Drive? Didn't we use that ARPA funds for that?
Yeah,
correct.
just add that to the ARPA funds.
Yep, we did.
Yes, we did.
I didn't say, not me, but hey, that's, I still think we wait until the 11th to do it. Hands going up all over the place. Go right ahead, Joe. Just a minute.
No, unless we run over the
One more comment.
deadline.
Okay.
Yeah, the project, when it gets done, like I was saying, he's probably gonna tear that up sooner than later. So it will be tore up regardless probably, because he's gonna be gone. So he only has a short window, and the town, and the developer, or the guy, the company that blacktops is the county, they have a window that they're within. So that project, I believe, happens sometimes towards the end of this month.
So there is no time to think about it.
There's time to think about it, for sure. I'm just saying that I would suspect, I can't speak for them tearing up the road, but I would suspect that road would be tore up regardless.
So it's not usable.
It'll be usable.
Gravel.
Yeah, because he'll prep it for the
Okay.
blacktop, so you'll still be able to drive over it.
Okay.
Yeah, it might be closed while they're doing the digging or whatever, but, yeah, it'll still be
Okay.
open, and even after they do the project and we don't okay the money, that still will be open. It might not be blacktop, but it'll still be open, and it'll be like crushed concrete or something, so it'll still be drivable, for sure.
I just don't know if we have, maybe you can answer that. With today's budget for '23, do we have,
a budget amendment,
you'd have to have the 12, where would you get it, general funds?
general fund or ARPA, because the original project was paid for with ARPA funds.
I know, but that doesn't mean this project.
Correct.
Paid
You
with
could- you
ARPA
could
funds.
use General
But-
fund balance.
That's, so, but nothing's in order. It's all hinges on whether we okay the 12,000. Then everything kind of falls in place once we say it's okay, if we do say it's okay.
Once you okay the $12,300, the developer, well, he'll probably do it anyways, unless we go to him and tell him, no, it don't look like it's gonna happen. But, you know, it's just
Well,
our
I'm
guess,
sure.
our best guess to what we find out tonight, what we're
Sure.
gonna say. And then he'll take the ball from there. If he knows that he's got, that road would be blacktop, he will get it prepared to the counties, what the county required from him this morning, and get it ready. And then when they come in to do the project, it'll flow right through and be done right with the project.
We've been waiting 40 years for this.
How long you been
And that's
waiting
on-
for Park Lake Trail? About 14, so hey,
Well, that's
you know,
a
that's,
little shorter,
well, a little shorter.
but everybody uses this road.
There's a lot of traffic.
I don't use
lot
that
of traffic
road.
down there.
I never use that road. I don't,
My road's gravel, but that's not going into a subdivision like
I want my
this.
gravel road.
I like my gravel
I
road.
like
I like my gravel road, but anyway, all right, so thank you ever so much for so what you're looking at is to have a motion to take care of it.
We've got a
Sherry already
motion and
made
a
it.
We have a
second.
motion
Okay,
and a.
no, her
support.
motion was not, because that was if they did.
And though
No.
that-
I mean, you're
I'll
gonna
change
have
my
to
motion
fix
to-
it.
My motion is amended to allocate the $12,300
Yes.
to pave that road.
I think that was your motion.
Yeah, that's what I wrote down as well.
Yeah.
that it was-
Okay.
Oh, I
Yeah,
thought,
second.
I thought she
Yeah,
was
we-
adding if in fact we did
We went around.
something
No, that was
else.
a
Okay.
discussion first.
Okay,
So,
Where are you gonna pay it
Would you
from?
like it from the general fund or?
Wherever we can get it from ARPA preferably, I guess. I don't know what's, that's your department.
No, I need,
No,
I
it's
do
not.
need
You
direction.
You need to
Every
have,
direction.
Yeah,
you
I was
actually
just gonna
have to
say,
make a
Tell me
motion. Do
whether
you
you
want?
want
everything's coming
general
out of
fund
ARPA.
I think it should
or
come out of ARPA, being that one check will cover the whole thing. And driving Gary Lane and Timothy. And then that.
I think
All
if
right,
we do it, we should do
so-
it out of general fund.
Okay, I make a motion,
Okay.
we do it out of general fund.
That's fine.
All right,
And
so
it's gonna
you're,
be the 330 feet or 318 feet?
318 feet,
it's-
$12,300.
so if I'm
Ish.
understanding the motion, there you go. Ish, I like that. So if I'm understanding the motion then, and what you're writing down, make sure that everybody understands it. Your motion is that we write the 12,000, we go ahead and pay 12,300? So that's, okay, out of general fund dollars to,
Blacktop, 318 feet-ish.
Approximately.
At
of
the end of
private
Main
road.
Yep.
Okay, and we have a second?
Yeah, I seconded it.
Okay,
Ms. Wilson?
No.
Ms. Kellerman?
Yes.
Mr. Rosecrans?
Yes.
Ms. Butler Challenger, yes. Ms. Howe?
no. Okay. So that's a 3-2?
Yes.
Okay. So it passes. Okay, we're on item 13, unfinished business. All right, we've done away with the board meeting rules.
Yep.
So now we are into
13A,
A.
which is.
Well,
the
no, that's
rescue
what we
plan.
did away with.
Right.
So
B turns to A.
is that how you want to look at it? Okay, so every one of those changes? Okay. So B is
Small
now
A.
A. Well, good man, you know exactly where you belong.
I follow directions very well. It's gotten me this
I'm
far in my
sure
marriage.
you do directions very well.
He's been waiting.
Somehow that doesn't surprise me any. All right, shoot,
All right.
not literally.
So for the first item I'm up here for, the members of the fire department are asking for a hazard pay.
Yeah.
Covering from March 1st of 2020, when COVID first started, through June 30th, 2021. Between Superintendent Hildebrand and myself, we were able to crunch the numbers, and for members who made a certain amount of hours, we're asking for a hazard pay from the ARPA funding for those members. We currently have 12 members still on our department who served from March 1st of 2020 to June 30th of 2021. We had one member who had less than 50 run hours.
Okay, that's what
So we're asking for $500 for that member. We had one member who made 51 to 100 hours. We're asking for $1,000 for him, or for them. For 101 to 200 hours, we're asking for 2,000 hours. We have one employee that qualifies for that. 201 hours to 300 hours. We have, again, another employee who qualifies for that. We have two employees that put in between 300 and 400 hours. We're asking for 4,000 for that member. And then lastly, we had 6 members who put in over 401 hours during that time on responses. And for those members, we're asking for $5,000. In total, if this board chooses, we're asking $44,500 for hazard pay out of the ARPA funding.
So if we added up the hours, that, is that how that works? I mean, I see your pieces that you have here, and I get the 500 and 1,000 and 5,000 and whatever. So we're looking at how many hours, so we add, just for my edification. So when you have your runs for your hours, you start with the .50, which
Yeah.
is, and then you would add 100 hours, and then you would add 200, 300, is that how that works?
That's how many hours they had during.
During the
time
COVID?
Between responses and everything else, they.
Okay.
they had.
Okay. Gotcha. Thank you.
So
Okay.
you're giving them $10 a run.
I believe believe that's how we equated it.
That's
I
pretty
will,
cheap.
I will
As
note
it
if I
be.
can that we had a couple of members, and I only mention this because I think shows the dedication of our fire department. We had 2 members that were over 1,000 hours during that time. So they went on a lot of calls.
Yeah, they do.
Wait a minute, you said you had 2 members that went on 1,000?
Over 1,000 hours.
But we only went up to 400.
Okay, but you only went to 4, thank you. That's what I was gonna say, that didn't equate to what you, thank you.
That's all I have for that, unless the board has any other questions for me.
No, I think what we're looking, if I'm understanding the process, help me if I'm out. Everybody who has here presents their project, and then we have to determine, we, the board, have to determine who gets the ARPA funds. Okay. By the way, that's terrible, but anyway, go ahead.
All right, so,
That is
next is the outdoor warning sirens, and that project. Superintendent Hildebrand and myself have met, a couple times with Luke Miller, correct? Luke Miller from West Shore Services. We had a discussion with him about what we're looking for, what we want for the township with the outdoor warning sirens. The map that's up here, so the 4 sites, the 4 circles are where we already have
Right.
sirens. This siren down here
East Lansing.
is East Lansing's. It's in the aquatic center area. Obviously, it does cover a portion of the township here, although it will only go off when it's needed for Ingham County. Clinton County 911 does not have any communications with that tower or anything like that, nor do we. So, what we were able to get were some quotes. Luke gave us 2 different quotes. The first quote was for brand new sirens. Those were $27,250 a piece. We had to price out 10 so that we could give coverage for the township. What we see with the coverage map here is we still have areas that don't have coverage. And that's because a couple things. One, that's where you'd identified, we may have our least populated areas, but also everywhere that he pinned a potential siren site is anywhere that we would have access for the road right of way to put in the sirens. And that's why here we have a dead spot with area that we don't cover, because it's easier to have the roadway or the right of way there where it's pinned already. They also quoted with us $9,500 for the concrete poles. My opinion on those are, I did the research today, and the 4 sirens we have now were put in 2012. Those poles still look brand new to this day. When you drive past them, we've had no issues with them. I mean, they're 11 years old now. They've been through 11 Michigan winters, 11 Michigan summers, and they still look brand new.
They're wooden?
They're
They're
concrete.
concrete.
They also quoted us $8,940 for a new computer with the Commander software. The computer we're currently using is still original to this project, so that's also 11 years old. And then there's an ongoing cost of $4,750 for the Commander software that we would have to do every year. The second quote that he gave us was for, they were able to get used sirens. They got an idea out of North Carolina or somewhere there was, I want to say he said a nuclear plant or something that shut down. So they were able to go in and get these sirens. The price for those was $19,900. They would have a warranty, but they would refurbish them so that we could use them. Same price for the poles, and then same price for the software, and both for the new computer and then the yearly subscription. My recommendation for this project is I don't see why we couldn't go with the used sirens, especially if they're gonna refurbish them and they're gonna give us a warranty. We can save some funds that way by using those. So, and then with this, we need to have another discussion with him on whether we can, and if this board would like, we could do a multi-year project with this. Meridian Township, I believe, just finished a 6 or 7 year project with theirs. And I don't know if over time we wanna allocate every year, we add 2 more sirens. With this year, we could add 2 in the north where we've already discussed, and go from there. I'm willing to go whatever direction the board would like to go. That's all I have for this project. So if you have any questions, yes?
More of a statement than a question. This initially came about because we wanted 1 siren. Now, all of a sudden, we have 10. Okay. The strategic plan that we should have, which we don't have, would probably include adding, exactly like you said, every few years you'd add another one to it. The pole that you talk about, I love the cement pole, makes a lot of sense, but I have a pole, and there's also another pole that we can get if you want for 2 in the north end, because we don't have any on the north end. Of course, Sherry doesn't have one in her area either, but that doesn't mean over multi-year projects that you can do this. So this is really an interesting piece, although I gotta tell you, like I said, this map is, I can't even tell where it's at, to be honest with you. And I kind of even pulled up numerous maps to kind of overlay to make sure, and it was still really kind of hard to tell. I'm assuming, the ASSU and me, that your proposed 5 is like on Upton Road. Does that look right? Am I way off?
Yeah, that would be Upton and.
That's what I thought.
Or
Not,
Upton and-
Cutler?
well, no, Cutler.
Down farther.
It's down further than that. It's not even at,
How?
Upton and.
yeah. So it's because we have property there? Is that what?
Road right of way.
The road
Okay.
right.
So you're looking to, wow, you have a lot of accidents with that. Road right away only goes, what, how many feet? 30
66 foot.
from the center of the road?
No, 33 from the center.
Yeah, okay, that's what I'm saying. So if that's gonna put it pretty close to the road, if that's what we're looking at. But again, I'm gonna go back to the idea that you really, that's an overload for 1 year. For multi-years, it makes sense to add 1 or 2 at a time. That's how this initially started, was because the north end wasn't covered. And now we end up having this. So I'm not real sure, frankly. Is there a bid that he would have, or a process that he would have for 1 without a pole? Because we have a pole. Now, understanding the concrete pole that you talk about is supposed to be lasting much longer than a wooden pole. But if it's free, whatever. So you'd have to look at that cost. So it isn't that much. So I would personally appreciate it to have the siren, and I like the idea of the used one when it's refurbished, because sometimes that actually lasts longer than what your others do. So that makes sense. So if you don't have a pole and you've got a used siren, okay, to put it in, then I'm not sure, is there a way that we can figure out the cost of one?
Yeah, $19,900.
Yeah, that's what I thought, because that would be the used siren, especially with the free pole and installation, which, again, is setting the pole in, and then he comes in and does. So would he be willing, Mr. Miller, would he be willing to do 1, maybe 2 poles, as opposed to, I mean, after all, he sells them. I mean, I understand business is
He's
business.
willing to do whatever this board. would
Whatever
like
the
to
board
do.
wants. Okay. All right, so that's something to think about. All right, thank you.
Any other questions? Board?
Are these in any order of preferences, or we have to decide that where we want them, or?
So he did, Mr. Miller did a coverage map. He's actually from the area, he lived in DeWitt. So he's familiar with the area, and he tried to do where we have access with the road right of way, but then where we believe a majority of our population is.
So 1 is first, 2 is second in preference?
I think he just.
I think he just
I think
randomly
he just
numbered.
put them
Okay,
on there.
okay.
And
That's what I thought
you
when I
know,
looked at it.
From looking at it, he started here and went
Up, yeah.
over.
I think that's,
And I'd be willing to work with him, and with Chief Snyder, if we can come up with a list of where we think our number 1 priority is and work our way down.
And you would go by population? Because the north end doesn't have that kind of population that you do.
We obviously, we
Further
have
south.
concerns in the north end, which has brought this project on.
That's exactly
And I
right.
think that's
Okay,
been our goal this whole time, is to work on the north end, and then we can work out from there.
okay. No, that's appreciated. Thank you for all the work. That's a lot of work. Okay,
Thank you.
outdoor, and now we have the boat launch? Is that the next? It's Ben, where's, oh, there you are. I was gonna say, I'm looking for Ben.
So I have quite a few of these.
Yes, you do.
I would like to, I don't know how they're written in the agenda, but I'd like to start with the one that we actually need to do, and then get into what we would like.
Well, that makes sense.
The first one is the port in place. These are all, by the way, CIP applications for the Parks Department. And the first one is replace the port in place at Wisconsin Park Playground, which is, if you're not familiar, it's the
Port in-
surface, fall protection
Okay.
surface underneath the play structure. And we got a quote from the company that installed it to begin with. But this is not just replacing what's there, it's actually expanding a little bit, because we have a bunch of wood chips that also surround the playground. So this would expand it, I believe, by about 3,500 square feet. And that price to remove and replace it is $142,970.30. This was a quote that I got last year, so I mean, obviously going to be cost increase in product and inflation. But this is I would say a priority for Wisconsin Park to get this done. It's been about 12 years since the playground was built. They project that the lifespan of this stuff is about 10 years, so we're overdue already. That's one project that I would like to see before any of these other ones.
So Ben,
So-
I got a question. So you're saying this is more of a need than a want that we need to do?
Yes.
Okay.
Because there's already surface there, and we need to maintain that surface so it's safe for the kids to play with. And over time, the base wears out and the surface breaks down. So it needs to be, we've already patched it in several places, and there's some more signs of where there's some cracks that are in there that we're probably gonna have to get after it fairly soon.
So it's a safety concern now?
It will be.
Okay.
I wouldn't say it is now at this point, but it is deteriorating. It's gonna become that.
Okay.
Questions on the port in place?
Let's make sure I've got it right. That's the port in place replacement and the public works. That's from you, Director, right? So that's actually 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's the fourth item that you have is the most important. Okay, got it.
Yeah, these weren't in any prioritized order on the agenda.
Oh,
They're just
oh,
kind
just,
of,
okay. Gotcha. Okay,
so that's our number one. The rest of these applications were just, as we develop the Park Lake corridor, these are things that we've both seen met with our Parks and Rec committee, the recreation advisory. But they're all on board with all the rest of these things. If we want to go by prioritizing,
yes,
I
that would
would
help.
say the next thing that is deteriorating is the boat launch.
Boat launch is 2, okay, got it.
The parking lot is it needs to be replaced at minimum. We've been talking about re-engineering the whole parking lot so it flows better for quite some time, even back before, actually, back to Goodwin was CIP applications into this project. So I just took a basic approach to a general square footage cost for this based on what we paid for parking lot construction. And that came out to be, I think, about $200,000. And that was an estimate that I put together, like I said, based on prices from Mike and Sons, what we paid in the past. And the engineering that we have done for Wiswasser parking lot.
Okay. So what's your third?
What's that?
Your third?
Do you have any questions?
I think they did.
And these ones really aren't any priority. Let's do the sport court, since that was one that we put in last year for a CIP, and this year it got scored again.
The sports court.
Would be a multi-use court at Wiswasser Park, which would include basketball, pickleball, and volleyball. We would have a 10-foot fence around it, high, so any balls would get out in the traffic or out in the swamp. That one came in at just over $50,000, and I believe it's 40 feet by 80 feet. And I would propose it to go on the north end of the park where we tore the house down.
Okay.
Instead of-
Setback? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, sorry. Go right ahead.
So, do we have enough parking down there though to help if you built
There's room-
this?
There's room, so I did a sketch, I didn't
Okay.
include it in this, but there's a room to put another like 60 by 60 parking area. And this was just kind of a vision that I
Okay.
saw, or vision that I had with this court, another small pavilion, and sidewalk connecting to the bathroom building, and also another parking lot north of the bathroom building. That's not included in the price of this, it's just
Okay.
kind of a vision and the direction that I saw that this.
Good use, okay.
What will a 60 by 60 parking lot, how many cars will that take care of?
Well, the parking spaces are, I believe, 9.5 feet wide, so about 12 cars.
Your vision puts this court back or closer to the Park Lake Road? Okay, is that,
Okay. So,
Where that house is,
we're gonna have to
So the
put
original
pointers.
plan that I kind of sketched up, the parking lot was basically where this already is, but went back further. And then a sidewalk connecting to the sport court, which this section of woods is no longer there. So sport court and then pavilion up here, because there is another water supply, a well that we saved from, I believe this is the well here. So that is capped, but we could tap into that and reuse that. It would just need power run from the bathroom building, which we could have drinking fountains there. But this is, like I said, this is not part of this.
So it is off the road?
yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's, we wanted to make sure where the woods, which no longer is there, is where you're actually looking for the court, okay. I don't remember seeing your drawing.
This was just a sketch that I did.
Oh.
I didn't
Submit it, okay, I was gonna say, I don't remember seeing,
Just to
okay.
make sure that everything would fit, I did draw it up. Questions on the sport court?
What's your fourth one?
Fourth one is kayak launch. And I've heard through several people, and during COVID, we saw a lot of paddling starting to get popular on Park Lake. And a lot of the people were either trying to launch at the boat launch, which is not very good to launch your kayak on a cement pad, or at the beach, which then takes up parking at the beach for people trying to use the beach. So this kind of goes along, I would like to see this go along with the boat launch reconstruction, or at least prepared for that, so we have a spot we can, even if we don't pull the trigger on the kayak launch right away, we have a space for it. There is in that original packet, I don't know if you have the CIP that I submitted, there's a drawing of it. And this project came in just under 40,000. It would be an ADA compliant or usable kayak launch. It has instructions on it. How to use it. This would be something that comes in and out. Keep it in all year. It'd just be like the fishing docks, you would remove it in the fall.
So would you store the kayaks there?
No, we're not storing kayaks, it's just the
use.
ramp so people
Just
can
for
bring their
people can
kayaks.
bring their kayaks?
Yeah,
So there wouldn't be a business kind of issue? Okay,
just
gotcha.
an access. And my proposed location is somewhere on this end, since we purchased these new lots, somewhere on this new property.
Okay,
Are you thinking about putting the fishing dock down there also,
We've talked about doing that as well.
to get it away from the slum area?
There's some other ideas also, but ideally away from the swimming area would be for the fishing dock.
okay.
Okay, and then last one, there's been quite a bit of want for a bathroom building at the beach. And since we don't have sewer there, now I got a price on doing a vault style bathroom, which is basically what you would see at a state park or something. There's no power. It's basically, another word is pit toilet. But they're these. There is a sketch up of what it would look like.
Yep.
Style, you can choose different styles, but basically there would be two toilets, and they'd have a 750 gallon vault, basically a septic tank. It would be pumped out a couple of times a year. And they have a ventilation system in it, so it filters out any of the smell. I know that was a concern, they might smell, but there's already a porta potty down there that we don't get any complaints from.
So your vault style that you're talking about, there's septic tanks that go with that?
Yeah, so that's
vault?
what the vault is.
That's what
So it's a building that
Okay.
sits on a tank, on top of a tank,
Yep,
and the toilet is dropped right into the vault.
gotcha.
There's no water,
That's what
there will be no water, and that's, at a planning commission meeting, they talked about what would it cost to build a building with water. Our issue is sewer, and water, because there's no city water there, so we would have to put a well, we have to have power. This building would be total, what's that? This building would be able to be open year-round, because we wouldn't have to worry about freezing pipes.
That's what I,
So the ice fishermen usually park and launch from the beach area.
Where are you thinking
Another-
it's gonna go, Ben?
Most likely down on this end where the porta potty is now would be ideal. There's a little bit more space. I don't know what the setback is. I don't know the regulations. This is just a proposed idea that we looked into. And the price in this, I thought personally was, the quote that I got was pretty high. I think we could build it. This was having that company come and build it using their contractors.
Sure.
I think we could build it with local contractors much more reasonable than what this is. I believe it was $190,000.
Nice.
But that's all the air filtration, the ventilation that goes along with it. We would still have to maintain this with Public Works, man hours, so it would be in addition to all of our other duties.
so it would be kind of like whoever's on duty to do it?
Usually we break our properties apart.
Okay.
Each person in Public Works has primary properties that they maintain, and it would probably fall in with the parks. Whoever maintaining the parks at that time.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions? Doesn't seem, you did good. That was a lot of work.
Thank you.
All right, I think the superintendent is talking about the sidewalks.
Thank you. This was actually, if Ben wanted to stay for a minute, he has made a priority to take a look at the. Ben?
Ben?
If you could stay for just a minute. Talking
You're
about
not done yet.
sidewalks, yeah, maybe, sidewalks on Park Lake Road. And it has been talk among staff and talk among planning commission members to have a sidewalk that would run from the beach to the boat launch. What we are seeing currently, I can zoom out a little bit. But that whole corridor has become essentially a recreational corridor. We own many of the properties through the area on the south side of the road, except for the yellow house, which is here. And would have to work that out with the homeowner to obtain an easement for a sidewalk if that was something we desired to do. But it has been a concern of the Park Lake Advisory Board and the Friends of Park Lake that Park Lake Road is not as safe as it could be with speeding cars. Obviously, we know a home was hit by a vehicle. And so to keep people off of the road or being so near to the road, having a sidewalk would be optimal in that area. What you have in the packet is proposed crosswalks that were drawn up by the Clayton County Road Commission. There would be one that would cross from a overflow parking lot to the creamery, is the first one in the packet. And then the second one would cross from the Wiswasser parking near the bathrooms across the road to the boat launch. I do not have a price for this. Go ahead, please.
It's showing a crosswalk, but that means people are still walking in the road, right?
Correct.
So you need, this dollar amount that you have doesn't include sidewalks,
Correct.
just crosswalks.
Just crosswalks at this
Okay.
point, yep.
Yep, got it.
If it was something that this board wanted to pursue, we could of course pursue quotes. But it is an issue that's been of importance to this community. Clinton County Road Commission
part of the
has
strategic
toured it, yes. So Clinton County has toured it with homeowners and residents in the area and have made recommendations for safety improvements.
Thank you. Now you can go.
Gave them the thumbs up.
Planning Commission, is there any other questions?
So that was, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, it says the official,
Yeah, the memo that was in the back of that section
Yes.
had information from the Planning Commission as a recommendation to repair all sidewalks within the township that are currently in poor condition, providing a clean slate. And I believe in a previous meeting, Rick Curtis had recommended possibly using DDA funds in the downtown area to help correct some of the poor sidewalk conditions that weren't being addressed by Safe Routes to School.
okay, my only question with that would be, it says the entire township?
Where there's existing sidewalk currently.
Right, but that means, okay.
So our-
That wouldn't be in the Main Street
So
area.
some of it would be.
Right.
So our
No.
planning team has gone
But it
out and
says the whole
assessed
team.
all
Okay.
sidewalks in the township and have rated them. So
How much did you think that would cost?
I have no idea.
Okay, how much do we have in the DDA?
169,000.
Thank you.
20 of it is dedicated currently to the Cousins Park project.
So we have 140.
I recommended 150 in the budget
Okay,
for sidewalk repairs
On Main Street. or
Oh.
In the DDA,
in the DDA area.
which the DDA.
that's not the entire township.
Correct.
Okay, so what is it, the DDA area or the entire township?
It would be the entire township, but we don't have, we have the inventory. What I'm
Okay.
saying is we don't have a price for that
But we have 149,000
in the DDA area,
Okay.
correct?
Okay, gotcha. Somehow I don't see the entire township, but that's, I can't imagine that, frankly.
Just the sidewalks that are in the township.
No, I understand that, but, okay. Any more questions? That was a load to get through. If anybody has their application or their agenda, you can see that. All right, we're on items for action. B, because we did, the other one is a FOIA, or is it, not a FOIA, but an FYI. So items for action, is that?
Correct.
Okay. Which is A, acceptance of the Michigan Fire Equipment Grant for $10,000?
Correct. So Assistant Fire Chief Kevin Douglas came to us earlier this year with a proposal for the ARPA funds, which was funded at $60,000 with the hope and expectation that we would receive this fire grant to offset $10,000 of that cost, and we have received that grant.
Right.
So what I am asking for tonight is acceptance of that grant and the ability to use that money on the turnout gear that his proposal covered.
Oh, so he's got the grant?
He got the grant.
But I know, according to
This board needs to
but this-
accept that
Okay, we
grant.
have to accept that, okay. Sounds like, as long as he's got it. Okay,
I make a motion to accept the grant of $10,000 for the turnout gear.
Second.
Second.
oh.
You're late to the
You're
party.
too late.
Huh?
You're late
Okay.
to
You
the
have to
party.
be louder
Speak up.
than that. Thank you.
Second.
Speak up.
Can you say that motion again? I didn't hear it totally.
The motion is to, this is so funny to me anyway, the grant for $10,000 is already here. We have to vote on accepting that $10,000 for that grant.
Thank you. Sorry, I had.
Oh, no, I'm doing the same thing. So, no such thing as a dumb question. Doesn't exist. Okay, we have a first and a second. Roll call.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Kellerman?
Yes.
Mr. Rosecrans?
Yes.
Ms. Butler Challenger, yes. Ms. Howe?
Yes,
Thank you.
Thank you.
it seems like a no-brainer. So we've accepted a grant for $10,000. All right. Apparently, our next small b, which is your items for action, large B, small b, would be a closed session to consider an offer to purchase real property by the owners of the Park Lake Creamery.
I would, Madam Supervisor, we have
Yes.
small correction. That will need to be a motion to enter closed session to discuss confidential written legal opinion. There is not a closed session exception for considering
that's
offer
what I
and
was gonna
purchase.
ask
So
you,
we did
'cause
provide
we
some
can't
advice
do
and
that.
counsel in a written
Okay.
piece of paper that I will hand to you once we are in there.
So even though we're, now that we've let everybody know why we're going into closed session,
Well, it's not so much, the secrecy is not about what is the topic of the legal opinion, it's more what's contained in there, and as I said, there's not a permissible closed session for
right.
simply the sale. We have discussed other items in the opinion related to that, so it's not a decision.
So we need
Yeah,
to make a
but-
motion for what?
Motion to enter into closed session to discuss
Yes.
confidential written legal opinion.
Okay,
and we need a second.
that's my motion.
That's-
Second.
Third. That was easy. That was, all right, you got that?
Jen first?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, she made the motion.
Okay.
That was
After
easy.
what the attorney said, she made the motion that the attorney said, so
Ms.
there
Kellerman?
you go.
Yes.
Mr. Rosecrans?
Yes.
Ms. Butler Challenger, yes. Ms. Howe?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, we are going to break for closed session to discuss a legal opinion. Okay? Nobody's going to talk about it, exactly. All right.
How's it going? Good. Good to see you. Yeah, right? Just call her. But if
Because I know at one time, during that contact with those property owners, was ready to get easements, but nobody wanted to pursue this because they said, no, we can't pursue it because of permit gutter. And we're like, well, no, that's bullshit, nobody just pushed the issue.
I had somebody tell me that we've been selling Moses' 7 years lots for like a third of what any other township is. Cheap, and that's where we fill up.
You
Don't
wouldn't
touch-
remember if you were buying or selling at this meeting, so you just.
Little
started
both.
telling us for us.
Okay,
I still think you should have an ordinance on the books to serve refreshments at these meetings.
I don't think that's a bad thought.
Once upon a time we used to.
Hors d'oeuvres, you know, things like that.
Little shrimp cocktail here and there.
I think when Troy Feltman was here, I think we used to, for late meetings.
Well, we didn't lose all of you anyway.
No, we were too tired to get up, so we.
Yeah, actually, they are back to back. Oh, the solid waste thing, okay. I'm looking at this. Everybody here? Hang on. I love it. Now that I have your attention, we are back in session from closed session. And what we have next is the action from the closed session.
Okay, and that is a motion for superintendent to have the property appraised.
Second.
Can I ask you a question about that?
Nope.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Kellerman?
Yep.
Mr. Rosecrans?
Yes.
Ms. Butler Challenger, yes. Ms. Howe?
Yes.
Thank you.
That's
Approved. I'm
Yes.
sorry, I didn't
Yes.
hear the
Yes,
last
sorry.
part.
I like your boomer shirt. I do. I like your boomer shirt. All right. We are into new business 14. And it looks like introduction and discussion about, okay, Part 115 of Solid Waste Management Plan Amendment.
Thank you, Madam Supervisor. The Clinton County Board of Commissioners has adopted an amendment to the county's Part 115 Solid Waste Management Plan. This is my first time through this as well. It contains two parts, which is, number one, it adds one county from which Granger landfill may import solid waste into its Clinton County landfill facilities, and that's Branch County. The second item is it changes the total area cited for use at the Grand River landfill to include the closed but licensed portion of the landfill. So they are asking us for our community's review and approval of this. And if I'm going to say this because this is the first time I've been through this, if inviting Catherine Neese to our next meeting would be helpful, I'd be willing to do that for you. And if there's any questions, I will do my best. But this may be your first time and my first time as well.
Shouldn't be anybody's first time. I had this out there September 5th. And I don't know if the board members got one, but they were supposed to get information on this. So Granger's been looking at this for a while.
Okay.
So I don't think it's a bad thought. Either Kate can come or whoever it is, there's another female that works on that.
Okay.
So for them, but like I say, this shouldn't be your first time. This was September 5th. and We're in October, so anyway. We have a motion and a second, correct?
No.
Okay, we
This is
don't
for
need.
introduction and
This
discussion.
is a discussion.
Yep.
Yep.
So we've discussed. All right.
Do we want Kate to come at the next meeting, or are we?
Wasn't that what she just said?
Yes. Karen, you're gonna have Kate come.
I will,
Or
I
somebody
will
from
invite
the
her
department.
or
Okay.
someone from her
No,
office.
I didn't know if she.
Nope, she made that as a statement. All right, and we took away the passage of the 21 budget because we had that discussion or that argument, whichever way you want to look at it. So now we're large B, items for action. So we're going back into closed session. And we're going back in now, is it okay to say that, Lizzie? For, can I say this the way it's written?
Yes.
Consider the,
Yes.
okay. So to consider the purchase of real property on Park Lake Road. Who knows?
Can you make a
Could be
motion?
I
yours.
make a motion to go into closed session to consider purchase of real property on Park Lake Road.
Second.
Ms. Kellerman?
Yes.
Mr. Rosecrans?
Yes.
Ms. Butler Challenger, yes. Ms. Howe?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Sorry, I thought you were already
We had to come back out.
There we go.
there. You should turn that mic off when you do that.
You know, that's a thought. Maybe that's what it is. But any other time, it doesn't do anything. That is a thought.
Sharon, when it comes to public comment, could you put that Google Map thing back up of the Parkway area? Please.
No plug?
Wow.
It's on a docking station here. Plugs up.
Okay, when it comes to public comment, I'm gonna ask you all to just envision what I'm gonna try to tell you.
No, jeez.
All right.
Everybody turn off.
Told me to turn it off, so I did. No.
Turn them all off.
Didn't work. Didn't work. All right. Now we are back in session. Or, how do we say that?
We came back from closed session.
We're returning to open session. There you go. And now we have an action for the closed session that we just went out of to open session.
Okay, so the motion is for superintendent to negotiate the purchase of the Park Lake property.
Second.
Do you know where that's at? Stephanie?
They can?
Is it the Stephanie property?
Who's Stephanie?
No, it is, hold on. It is owned by a Lynn Davis,
Right on Rosemont.
corner of Rosemont and Park Lake, I think it is.
Rosemont, yeah. To the east.
So, okay, second, anybody? Joe, oh, I mean
Second.
Al did, okay.
Mr. Rosecrans?
Yes.
Ms. Butler Challenger, yes. Ms. Howe?
No.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes,
Ms. Kellerman?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're at number 15, superintendent's report.
Thank you very much, Madam. Now, Madam Supervisor, you might have noticed tonight when you were coming into the building, there is some remodeling happening next door. We are working to make the police lobby safer. We've added an additional window for the new employee that is working over there. And the materials that are being used next door to make it safer were donated by the same company that donated our front office acrylic windows. There's a local gentleman that lives in the township that owns the company, and I will bring you more information back on that soon, because I think we should do something to express our appreciation of the donation. But it will help to secure our police station. As we know, in this day and age, there are not always well-intentioned people that visit us, and so it will go a long way to help with what is happening in our world today. I would like to report to you that card playing has resumed at the senior center for small amounts of money. It seems to be going well so far. We've had a few snafus with food. There's still some misunderstanding that food prepared at home can be brought in, and we're still working to educate those people that are coming to us and visiting with us that that is in fact not allowed. And we want to make sure that we're keeping the public safe when we are having fun at the senior center. So at this time, bingo is still being played for prizes. We are looking into, the young lady that works at the senior center has not conducted bingo for money, so that is an experience that she is learning with the help of her coworkers, and that we hope to have an event soon where they can play bingo for small amounts of cash prizes. So it has been going well, and I think that at first I didn't see the light in the decision, but I am okay with what is occurring, and I think people are very happy over there now. So, yes, you're welcome. That's all I have at this time.
That's it.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm sitting here waiting. Okay. Public statement 2. This time is anything that you'd like to speak about.
Okay. Ray Kotke, I'm a boomer. We're just gonna have to envision Wiswasser Park here. This is in regards to the parking that Benzie spoke about, possibly constructing at the new property. What I would suggest is that we do parking possibly along both sides of Park Lake Road, adjacent to Wiswasser Park in a diagonal manner, similar to how we do at the beach. You would not have to build any more parking lots, and it would give you, I'll bet you could park 100
200 cars along each side. If you put them in at about a 20-degree angle, it may require the guardrail, having it moved in maybe 8 feet, 10 feet at the most, but it would be safe. We could use crushed asphalt there. And, I mean, it's already there. It's already clear. We actually used it during the Summer Solstice Festival, two years in a row. I parked cars right along there. And it would lend itself really well. And drainage could be, adequately engineered in there for little expense, I do believe. And I just would like you to think about that instead of enlarging the conventional square lots that need those little lines put on them. The second one, the bathrooms at the beach. I really think that a giant outhouse would be the worst thing we could ever have there. His budget would, and he had mentioned that he could bring it in probably at a lot less. However, I think that would really do well for the township, for the community, for our upraising and, community, what was that word, harmony, the harmonious, Dan Kramer used to say something about harmony, but anyway, I think we could have, the bathrooms could be just about the same as the size that he put. I would put them a little bit farther west, also on township property, and I would have small changing area in both boys and girls, men's and women's, and outside have a small outdoor shower where people could rinse themselves off from the lake water. That's kind of an unpleasant thing, irrespective of how clear and clean the lake water is. There's still a smell to it, and it would be nice and pleasant to be able to have just a rinse with fresh water out there. If you go to the Caribbean, if you go anywhere in the ocean, you'll see those outside showers where people rinse off the salt water off them. And I just think it would, you rinse the sand off your feet, put your shoes on, that kind of stuff. It wouldn't cost that much more, and it would be so much better. And I don't even think Lake Lansing has something like that, so let's have something made of. Oh, look at that, I got right in there, thank you.
Thank you, Ray. Is there anybody else?
Jeremy Fowler, Fifth Street. I wasn't here at the first part of the meeting, so I don't know if you guys discussed it since, but where are we at with the security that's been proposed? It was a huge issue.
No place, it was an ARPA item and that was it. That's where it's at because we're discussing, today was the rest of the ARPA applications.
Understood. I just wanted to know how serious of an issue it really was, because it seemed to be a hot topic.
All of them are hot topics.
When I talked to Ms. Kellerman, she felt pretty deeply about it, and I just want to know if it's a priority or not, really.
Oh.
I mean, for all I know, people are running around in there with baseball bats. I don't know what's going on in there. But security is obviously a big issue. And I just want to know where we're at with it. I know you're saying it's ARPA, but I mean, so.
To me, that's a good question.
There's been no
That is a
decisions
good
made
question.
on what we're using the ARPA funds for.
But I think he's talking about the security.
Yeah, no discussion today on that,
I just thought it was worth bringing back up.
right? Oh, it is, in my mind.
There's a lot of opinions on it. I mean, I don't know. I don't know where you prioritize that amongst all these other things that are going on, so. I guess that's all I got.
Thank you. It's always good when someone comes up. Come on, John.
Just have a couple of comments. One, I heard a lot of discussion last time about the will of the voters when we were choosing a replacement for Mr. Joe Benzie. This gives the board an opportunity to select the most qualified person and not necessarily the most popular in terms of voters, and we can look through the history of not only Bath, but in Clinton County and the state of Michigan and see that the voters don't always vote for the most qualified person to fill the office. And you need somebody that's got experience with budgeting and how the government does budgeting, because industry and townships and completely different. I was in industry for years, and there's no way I can even with a budget you get two folks to do this. So wouldn't even want to create one. But I think you need to look at the candidates and select the one that's the most qualified to do the job, not necessarily the one that's most popular.
Thank you, John.
Can I just ask a question?
I don't care.
The property that you voted on or whatever, that's Lynn Davis, is that correct?
So it says,
Is it vacant or is it occupied?
There's a house on it.
That's, that, I just want to,
Okay.
it's got some weird, I'm looking on Fetch GIS and.
It's like 3
Weird
parcels.
lines, yeah. I always wondered, how in the heck did they get that line that goes right through the house? I don't understand that. Okay, thank you very much for that, I do.
okay, anybody else? All right, we're going to close public statements, and we'll go to board comments. And we'll start with you, Al.
Thank you for coming, and hope you have a good rest of the year.
Thanks for coming and sharing all your input. I was glad to hear about the road part over there on Ann Drive, that you shared the history and stuff.
It's true.
Yeah.
It is
I didn't
true.
know that the sewer went under the road over there and that we had paved it the first time, so I thought that
It's-
was good.
It's always good from my standpoint when we have constituents that come in and express their feelings. Whether I agree or disagree, that isn't the point. The point is that you're here and make a statement. So I thank you for that.
I don't have any comments.
Thank you for coming and all your input, and yes, security needs to be brought back to the table. Thank you.
Okay, item 18 is the adjournment. So anybody,
I move we adjourn.
I second it.
I'm all done. Third it. Oh,
I move we adjourn.
I second.
Mr. Rosecrans?
Yes.
Ms. Butler Challenger, yes. Ms. Howe?
yes.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Kellerman?
Yes.
Thank you.
I want you all to pat yourselves on the back. Look at that clock.
I did before, and it didn't do any good. I turned it off.
Karen, we're,
Use the cushion tonight.